Hello and Happy New Year, as it is time for the Proview Sports Report. I'm Aaron Rivera along with Steve Davis, and new year, but the same great sports on Proview, Steve.
No, it's a great year. Basketball's here, but
Yeah, we got a lot to get to. Unfortunately, we got to start on a sad note. The New Mexico sports community lost a very monumental figure in Buster Mabry, passing away during the last week. And, Buster, you see him right there, the executive director of the New Mexico High School Coaches Association, a very close friend of yours, Steve, and a guy who's had a massive impact on the state of New Mexico sports.
Well, you said it the best, but I think the best thing about him, he wasn't afraid to try something new. He changed a lot of things that took over time. I think that's what, and he was a big opponent, not opponent, but he was very good, and saw value in what Proview Network's done for all the coaches and for all the players, student athletes. So, but he was. He thought things out, but he changed. He liked change. He made change, and one of the biggest one was the North-South All-Star game, and now it's the red and green. And he made it where, first of all, it was in the summertime, before they all left. Then he changed it 1 week after the thing. So those are good things that were positive things for the players to get to be seen and to play their last games.
Yeah, and I think that's going to be something that certainly will be a legacy part of his, is having that, when the kids are still in shape for the sport, and when we're still thinking about that, but also just a really nice guy, and our hearts and all of our prayers go out to Lori and everybody else in his family at this time, because just a really nice guy, Buster Mabry.
And I do believe the funeral's going to be on the 15th, and you can look at the details of this month, and I think it's going to be it's more of a celebration, not a funeral, but more of a celebration of life for him at Crown Plaza. You can look up and see, and go to the website and see the exact details on it.
So make sure to go find that out. But now we're going to go ahead and transition into the Jalene Berger Holiday Hoops Classic. We covered it all last week. Stevie did every game that we had, so let's go ahead and kick it off first. First round matchup, the 10th team in 3A, Sandia Prep and La Cueva, and you're going to be seeing a lot of La Cueva here, Steve, but they have really gotten better and better as the season's gone along.
Well, this is a big tournament for them. Okay, and I'm not going to steal the punchline on this or anything like that, but talking to Coach Oriole before the game, and Sandia Prep, they played a great game, and they have a lot. They have a lot of good things going on with the season, with the win today on that day there, and basically La Cueva is a team in work in progress. Here's Bradley going in for a pass to Colburn. Colburn makes a three, and he's another player that's coming along and doing really well. Here's another clear out for Colburn, and they get the ball into Butler, and Butler does a dunk. Probably one of the highlights I hope to see in this week, top 10.
Well, and so this is a guy, Logan Lemons, as we're looking at it. The Lemons brothers were pretty big for Sandia Prep. But, a team that for Sandia Prep is also kind of rebuilding over the last couple of years with Coach Damian Segura taking over. Trying to get better and better. They're currently on the new coaches ranking. They're the 10th team in 3A. And Sandia Prep, had a pretty good showing overall. They got the 7th place win over Manzano. This one would finish, though, 70-44 in favor of the La Cueva Bears. And, something that when you get a 5A, 3A, you kind of see those sort of results coming in.
Yeah, but what was good was La Cueva needed that type of win. They didn't get sloppy. They played it through. They worked their offense. They did a lot of great things. And as we go through the bracket here, then I'll speak more on it.
All right, let's take a look at the second game of the tournament. That one was the the Rio Rancho Rams and the Manzano Monarchs. And so for this one, Rio Rancho, as we'll see throughout this tournament, they're a team that goes full court pressure, and this was a big game for that man right there. Kai Bradford was big too, but number 21 for them, just a massive game for McNeely, this one against Manzano. Here's Kai Bradford going to the basket, though. But, I mean, that matchup in the middle was one where, for Manzano, you were trying to see whether or not Bradford could take on the man underneath Youngblood for Manzano, and just a big day for the Rio Rancho Rams.
Well, it was big for them because they play 5-5, and you know, at this point of the deal, they've only lost one game going into this game, and it showed there's Woods hitting a fadeaway jump shot.
Yeah, but Manzano, while it was a tough day for them, they did have some good performances. Esteban Gonzalez, Bryce Johnson, of course, probably one of the unsung heroes of that team, or of the tournament, as you see Jordan McNeely. I mean, he went off in that one, Steve. A bunch of threes for Jordan in day one.
Right, and then here comes Woods on a fast break. Or
Hey,
Chavez,
yeah.
he looks like Woods, so it's Chavez. And
that's with that 5-5 that they were running the whole time. That was something interesting to watch with that Rio Rancho squad, is that they, what the coach is doing over there, he's making sure that he has the depth when it comes time later on in the season, and we're playing in district. This one would end up being 83-28 in favor of the Rio Rancho Rams. Again, not a lot of surprises in that game.
Well, it looked like from that game there that they were going to go on in their tournament. It was a great start. 10 people. I think everybody on the bench scored.
Every single person scored.
Everybody scored on the game, and it looked like Wally has his team to get ready for the Metro tournament starting next week.
Yeah, and I remember during the game, one thing you mentioned to me was what you were looking for from Rio Rancho last year was they needed better outside shooting. And we come in first game of the tournament, and boom, they've got the outside shooting. Well, let's take a look at the next game that was in that first round for I believe this one is going to be the Navajo Prep St. Pius. So this is that game. And Navajo Prep, the defending state champions, Dylan Lansing, one of the few guys that they got to return, and new coach there. So, I mean, a lot of changes for that Navajo Prep squad.
Well, they did. The thing out of this game, they compete, but Pius just run the ball. They just push the ball and push the ball.
Yeah, and guys like Carson McConnell, so he's a multi-sport athlete playing soccer. Guys who know how to run a lot. It really helps out for Coach Ryan's team. But this St. Pius squad, right now in the most recent coaches poll,
they're number one.
They're number one. Yeah, so. This is a tough ask for Navajo Prep, another one of the 3A teams in this bracket. But they kept it close here as we're looking third quarter.
To lose the players they lost last year and to come in, they very respectful.
Yeah, guys like Orion King, huge for them. But you see, we're here in the third quarter. Josh Darling, the guard, he had, a great tournament overall. Darling knocks that one down for the 2. And then just right away, Navajo Prep comes in, they respond. They get J.J. Berlin coming in for the goal or the basket. But Pius, that's a team, I think, again, we got to keep watching out for this team in the 4A as the year goes along.
Well, I do. Coach Myers, this is his 6th year. Time goes by fast. He just seemed like he just got the job. He's 6 years later, and his team does what he his game plan. When he comes into a game plan, they're very well coached, and there's unselfish play right there.
And Mason Montoya, Carson McConnell, who we're about to see right now drop in the bucket, he's impressed me with how he's evolved this year, but also Mason Montoya looking a little bit stronger, looking a little bit bigger, and there's Kenneth Zamora.
Zamora's the guy that can just got jets and that first quick stick. He's the smallest guy on the court, but he's not afraid to attack the rim and go against the bigs.
And so Pius won that one 55-48. And, when we look at St. Pius, obviously Jason Montoya last year, he was the guy that this year Zamora's got to kind of fill those shoes of somebody who can shoot from range but also drive the basket and kind of run that team.
No, I agree. And he's, the thing about Pius is they have all the moving parts. They have they're well coached. They got a great coach. They got a great system. And players have played in it, and everybody on the team knows their roles. So when you know that, everybody knows what they need to get done when they come off the bench or when they start the game.
Well, speaking of good coaches and good systems, let's take a look at Hope Christian versus Espanola Valley as the
Following sponsors.
whoop, that's not quite the one. We got it coming, I swear. There it is. So Hope Christian versus Espanola Valley. That's the one. You know, Espanola Valley, Steve, comes into this tournament, I think one loss on the season. They were rolling, and here's Matthew Lovato. Big part of it is Lovato and then Fresquez for them.
Well, Fresquez and Lovato those two guys can play with anybody. Okay, but I tell you what, on this game, Hope kind of Haran had a great game.
That they did.
And not on the offense and the defense side too.
Yeah, I mean, that's so Hiron underneath, as we see Dominic Salazar bury a three. Hiron had the size advantage, and we saw them playing it, but he can also do this. Right here, big three from Hiron, and you can see Espanola Valley had the lead at this point. It was a huge game early on from Fresquez. He put up 10 points in that first quarter. Second quarter, they were leaning a little bit more on Jarek Duda, but Hope never gives up. They bring this down to 6 points with that Koenigsberg. You know, he's a junior for them. And then how about this guy, Asen Fujimoto? So the biggest thing that he did, while he has that three right there, they put him face-to-face on Fresquez, and Josiah just went quiet after that.
Well, he did. He had a great first half, and the second half was very deal, and that was the reason that Hope is leading right now.
But look at that, as Josiah Fresquez. I mean, he's certainly a player in 4A. Josiah Fresquez, I think, is almost certainly an all-star this season. Here's a nice move down to Daniel Feist. But, I mean, a lot of great moving parts for this Hope Christian side. There's Feist, there's Gonzalez, who's number 3 right here. He had that huge game there. 79-89 was the final score. But Hope Christian, I mean, Coach Murphy's got another squad that could be threatening this year.
Well, they do, but you know, they got Pius, they got Dill, they got Academy. Academy's another one of those teams that you got to watch out for, and I don't want to forget Valley at the same time.
Valley's looking good too, and so that's Hope's right now the number 2 team. Do we have time to start moving into the semifinals? No, we're going to take a quick break right now. We'll be right back. This is the Proview Sports Report.
We would like to thank the following sponsors.
Along with classic hot and cold subs. Don't forget about our shakes, malts and floats made with your favorite Blue Bell ice cream. 45 years and still going strong. Come on down to the Yeller Sub, official sandwich of Proview Networks.
All right, welcome back here, Proview Sports Report. Aaron Rivera with Steve Davis, and let's get into the winner's bracket of that Jalene Berger Holiday Hoops Classic, as we'll take a look here at the game between the St. Pius Sartans and the La Cueva Bears. And again, St. Pius is a really good squad. You see Josh Darling kicking this one off, the guard. Nice unselfish play from St. Pius to get it rolling. Early on, you know, it's kind of back and forth. You see La Cueva, though, they've got the size. Chase Roberts, he's a guy that you're not going to hear every time, but he does great work for them.
He does the little things. You know, he gets the rebound, he gets the charge, he gets the steal, he gets, you know, he always seems to be in the right place at the right time.
And then this man, he would, well, we don't want to give it away, but Hunter Butler, a fantastic tournament. There's another dunk from Butler there, but Mason Montoya, the guy underneath, you look, he's taken on Butler underneath, finds a little bit of room for Pius to keep this one tight. You see we're here at the end of the first, and then Trey Cowles, he came on really strong here at the end of the first for La Cueva. knocking down a couple of threes. There's the second one.
I think he
Boom.
had 4 threes in that first half. So he,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, he was like, he just kept wear his arm out, baby.
Well, we just seen 3.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I wonder if we'll see the second as that kind of opened this one up. You see now we're into a 5-point game there. Those threes from Cowles, and then here's a guy, Drew Bramlett. We'll talk a little bit more about him as the game goes along, but a big 3, the sophomore for La Cueva. A lot of guys, a lot of moving parts for La Cueva that they're just getting better as the season's gone on.
There was Zamora getting through. I mean, he's relentless. And then here's he almost had two great dunks.
Now we're into the second half. You see La Cueva's got a pretty big lead right there, into double digits. And again, here's Chase Roberts cutting underneath. And La Cueva, for St. Pius, they do run a lot of that full court, so it would set them up to be playing against Rio Rancho. Here's Carson McConnell. Big basket as they brought this one back down to 6. You see Butler, the dish, back to him and back to the rim. The La Cueva Bears would end up winning that one 71-64, and just a big game for them. St. Pius would go into the third place bracket. We'll talk about that one after we take a look at the Rio Rancho Rams taking on the Hope Christian Huskies. So 2 5A, 4A matchups in the semifinals. Rio Rancho running that full court, and they've got the 10, 11 guys that can score. There's Kevin Archuleta getting things started here. And for the Hope Christian Huskies, they weren't having trouble beating through that press, but Rio Rancho was just running full court, and Hope early on just couldn't get the points to fall.
Well, they ran out of gas, and I don't think he scored until like at the end of the fourth quarter. They did a good job of keeping him out, and also Gonzalez the night before. They had no point production from those two. The night before, they got plenty of points from.
And there was our player of the game, Ken Decker, right there. Lincoln Sneed coming in, but with Huron not getting the points, they were having to rely on Sneed, on Konigsberg to get those points, whereas Rio Rancho, I mean, you can see, keep spreading the ball around. Here's Chris Lucero on a huge 3 there as Rio Rancho opened this one up to almost a 20-point lead. Lincoln Sneed, after that shot, comes in, goes to the basket, gets the 2 to try and move things a little more their way. Isaac Aaron's going to get the steal on this one and then put it from the charity stripe. But it's a 20-point game there, and Rio Rancho, I mean, this is where, when we were watching this game, Steve, it kind of felt like, oh, Rio Rancho, this is a serious team this season.
Well, yeah, they really exerted themselves, and they came out, and they executed well, and this guy here had a great game, Decker.
Yeah, Decker, nice flyby action for Caden Decker. Noah Lovato getting involved in the scoring. I mean, this one, they didn't have all 11 guys score, but you can see here, Caden Richardson comes underneath, gets the big dunk. After the first game, he didn't come in until the second half, but the Rio Rancho Rams put that one away easily, 75-51, and that set up a really good matchup in the championship, Steve. One where, I mean, nobody quite knew who was going to come out on top.
No, you said it exactly right, and I had, I rode with Sebastian to the game, and I was breaking the game out, and I just basically said, here's La Cueva, young, inexperienced, getting better on Thursday, Friday, and then it's Saturday. Or can they handle the success they've had in the last 2 days and go out and get the deal? And if they could handle the pressure of Rio Rancho, they would be in this game and could win the game. And let's just take it from and show what happened.
Yeah, and that
what
one
a back
was
and forth game.
Back and forth. I mean, wild game between it. We've got the 10 guys of Rio Rancho, where there's not somebody I think necessarily can just take it over. Here's Colburn. We're going to see him a couple of times.
Colburn's just been unbelievable from that corner and hitting some threes and.
Yeah, but Rio Rancho needed guys like McNeely right there. As here's Hunter Butler, as there. So this is that press. Rio Rancho's running that press the whole time, and La Cueva was like, well, we're just going to try and play quick up and down. That was kind of worrying early on, but it seemed to work for the La Cueva Bears. I mean, you see right here, 15-18, they were playing tight early on.
And Chris Lucero came in, but Rio Rancho did not hit threes. Here's Colburn again. I mean, he hit from the right side, from the left side, and
yeah, that set us to an 18-18
didn't watch the fast break,
and this is where the La Cueva Bears started taking over here early in the second half. See them baseball passing it forward, but this is what the pressure does. You said, are we going to see a miracle shot here to finish the half? Sorry, that was the first quarter ended 18-18. And then the half, Rio Rancho cuts it to 5 because that pressure, Tyshawn Williams able to get the steal. But as this one...
That was a great fast break right here.
Yeah, and that's kind of how you have to get underneath. And we see great performances. Trey Cowles again appearing after that big first quarter in the first game. But this guy right here, Hunter Butler, for the most part, he was the guy. But that Rio Rancho pressure, again, that's what their full court press is meant to do, get those half-court steals.
Yeah, they cut it to 2 in the fourth quarter. And
then they took the lead on that 3. But Butler coming in again, gives them the lead. And at this point, Trey Cowles knocks the 3, puts it almost out of reach. Rio Rancho would fight their way back in. Here's Caden Richardson. He goes for the basket, does the 3-point play to cut it down to 1. And at this point, La Cueva's being forced, or Rio Rancho's being forced to foul. And you see right here, here's Drew Bramlett, picks up the foul. And I pulled this because specifically I want to talk about his free throw shooting in the last 2 games, Steve. I mean, nearly perfect.
He missed 1 free throw.
Yeah, he missed 1 free throw in 2 games, and he had
in the last 4 minutes of the game. I mean, he had like 8 free throws the game before, and he was rewarded for this deal. He was him and.
Well, here's Hunter Butler, the MVP.
And this kid just getting better and better.
Coming on now. Well, unmute me, Ty. Well, unfortunately, some technical difficulties there, but Hunter Butler, so it was Coach Orell's birthday for that one, too, so the La Cueva side, they wanted to bring that one home for happy birthday to Coach Orell. But Hunter Butler really showed that a team you keep talking about how they're young, they're getting better. They need somebody to be that guy, that leader. Sebastian was asking him about that, and it really does seem like Hunter Butler is going to be that guy.
Well, and they have other parts too. I mean, Butler, I think for them to be very successful, they have to have the other moving parts with it, and Sanchez and Cowles is a perfect example. If they can step up and contribute 6 to 10 points and be consistent, Cowles just needs to be consistent. If he can have double figures every game, then this team's just going to get better and better. But I tell you, they had a great performance. It was his birthday night, Oriel on the deal. Great win for him, and great win going into the Metro tournament, which we'll talk about later.
Let's take a look, though. Let's put the bracket up there so everybody can see. So, as you can see on that winner's side, La Cueva beat Pius. La Cueva beats Rio Rancho. St. Pius, kind of handled Hope in the third place game. Hope was able to make it closer near the end of it, but Pius had a double digit almost throughout there. Sandia Prep getting the 7th place spot there, with Espanola winning the consolation bracket. And then that wasn't the only tournament going on all week, Steve. The Stu Clark up in Las Vegas, some huge games up there. The Robertson Cardinals, top team in 3A.
Branch, my buddy Branch, kid has a way of winning.
They have a way of winning. They were able to beat the Albuquerque High School Bulldogs 59-54. And Albuquerque High School, Steve, they're a top 10 team in 5A, right now ranked 6th. For the Robertson Cardinals, obviously the number 1 team in 3A, but that's a huge win to take that.
Huge win Albuquerque High and Robertson, but Robertson home court, probably the place was packed. It was he Branch, and watching him on the sidelines and watching his show and watch how his players respond to him is as good as anybody.
Well, and then also West Las Vegas, our friends up there, they took 3rd in that one, winning 72-56 over the Belen Eagles. So good day for Las Vegas overall up there. Also in the Dual Cities tournament in Mora, Santa Rosa beat Mora 41-28. And then you guys were talking about it in the championship game, the Hobbs Holiday Tournament. The Hobbs Eagles, the currently They're ranked the number 2 team in girls 5A. They beat the Farmington girls 85-16. So we'll talk a little bit more about Hobbs as we get into the Metro brackets. We'll be right back. You're watching the Proview Sports Report.
How much?
Well, I'm going to the frontier, walking to the cashier, order up a root beer and a number 1. Cover it with green stuff, 1 scoop is not enough. Find a booth is real tough, back by the Duke. Meet my family, meet my friends in the quirkiest restaurant I have ever been. All of Albuquerque's favorite spot, it's the Frontier Restaurant.
The Frontier Restaurant is a proud supporter of Proview Networks.
Welcome back, and thank you to the Frontier and all of our sponsors here. Proview Sports Report, Aaron Rivera with Steve Davis. So first, let's talk about some games coming up this weekend, Steve. A couple of basketball games for the boys and girls, or the men and women, over at Western New Mexico. And then we've got Clovis West Mesa, Highland Atrisco, Capital Rio Rancho, all boys games, Gallup and Albuquerque Academy. That's coming up this weekend. So if you're watching this live, that'll be Friday. And then Saturday is that Gallup Academy. But then the big thing, Metro Tournament is next week. Before we record again, we'll be seeing some of these games kicking off. So let's start with that girls' side. And the interesting thing, Steve, is that we've got the number 1 team, the Sandia Matadors, on the top of the bracket, the Hobbs Eagles, the number 2 team, on the bottom, along with the number 3 team in the state, the Rio Rancho Rams, and the 4 team, the Volcano Vista Hawks. So this is a really good girls bracket.
No, it's girls and boys bracket, and I think, as you said, Hobbs is coming for both girls and boys, and and hopefully we'll have a girls final of everybody's wanting to see. I don't know that I shouldn't say that we want that. It's like the city.
Well, last year everybody was looking for that Sandia versus Hobbs matchup, and it was Volcano versus La Cueva. So there's always somebody who can play those spoilers. La Cueva in that same side with Sandia again this year. Let's switch over to the boys as well. So here's the boys bracket, and I mean, the girls bracket has some of those top teams, but the boys bracket, almost every single team in this tournament is ranked in the coaches poll. So Highland 7th in 4A, Albuquerque High 6th in 5A, Sandia 2 in 5A, Atrisco 7, Del Norte 8. Hobbs's boys are, again, on that bottom side of the bracket. They're the 3rd-ranked team in boys, and they're taking on the Volcano Vista Hawks in that first round. That's quite the matchup.
Well, I think that's one that everybody wants to see. How good is Hobbs? Okay, they just beat Cleveland in their home tournament, so they're a team to have a 7-footer. I'm excited to be able to do that game.
And, we saw how good Hope was. They're going to be playing West Mesa in that first round. So that's going to be a fun one to watch as well, because West Mesa, the 10th-ranked team in boys 5A, according to the most recent coaches poll, they're really on the come-up right now. But Hope Christian, again, Coach Murphy, just always has those boys ready. So, I mean, a lot of great matchups in this one, Steve. I believe we're going to be talking about this next week.
On the Steve Davis Show, 10:30. You and I, we're going to go into detail with it.
Yeah, we'll have that a little bit later on. Actually, next week on Tuesday, we'll be breaking down those brackets further. But I mean, lots of great action. Again, games you can catch on Game Vision: Clovis versus West Mesa, Highland versus Atrisco, and Capital Rio Rancho will be on the NFHS network, but all 3 of those games on Friday at 7 p.m., brought to you by Proview Sports. And then Saturday, we'll have Gallup at Albuquerque Academy on the NFHS network. Plus, Friday, there's going to be some games on Flow College. Western New Mexico University taking on Angelo State, boys and girls, or men and women, 5 and 7. And then Sunday, 12 and 2 against UT Permian Basin. So make sure you tune into those. Lots of great action. There's also going to be a wrestling tournament at New Mexico Highlands University on Sunday as well. So tons of great action. Steve, thanks for coming on again.
I can't wait. Next Thursday, we'll be right in the middle of a Metro tournament.
Can't wait either. Thank you for tuning in to the Proview Sports Report, and thank you to Ty Metzger, our director.